Welcome to today's video on improving shoulder and hip mobility.
Worship, 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 worship. Oh my goddess, yeah, she the hottest. That's plain and simple. I'll bring on out your Holy Spirit if I bless the temple. I slow it down, speed it up, yeah, I switch the tempo. Just make sure when you bust it back, you pop it like a pimple. I know that's nasty, ooh, you know I like it. Ooh, you so enticing, ooh, I'm so excited. Your is look the bestest, ooh, I wanna bite it. I can see it in your eyes, don't deny it. I know you like it, I know you need that, and I'll supply it. Got that exclusive, and you should try it. The aura that I'm feeling chilling, it does something to me. I'm shooting half-court shots, I miss it, just forget you knew me. You know I need that, I can't deny it, and I will worship before I try it.
Now I'ma break it down real simple. If you go inside, she controlling your mental.
So there is a movement that's actually quite good that's going to help you improve your shoulder mobility, spinal mobility, hip mobility, and actually can be used as a really good dynamic warm-up. Is actually the Turkish get-up. I'm going to explain how to do the Turkish get-up. It can be done with a dumbbell. First is trying to teach you the basics on how to do it without a weight. So you want to take the dumbbell off to the side, lie on the ground. A couple of key positions for the arm and the leg here. So if I'm going to put the dumbbell up on this side, you want to start with a bent leg on the same side. The key positions of the leg is 45 degrees out here and 45 degrees out here. Again, why is a good mobility exercise? Because of the range of motion through hips and shoulders it requires, the shoulder flexibility and the spinal mobility and flexibility as well. You want to initiate this movement through pushing this foot into the ground. So again, that's getting a rock position onto this hip by engaging through my glute. As I push in through there, I get up onto my elbow into this position here. You then get up onto the hand and double check your hand is not too far behind the shoulder, it's more slightly behind that shoulder. From there, you've got to get into a full hip extension, which will be quite challenging for some people, into this position here. You then get your knee directly underneath the hip. You want to sit up. We are then going to make sure everything is square, so toes are square to that position where you started, and you're going to try and come up. To finish your Turkish get up, you've got to finish on the ground. So this leg will go onto the ground. The key descent, the proper way to descent is to hand out to the side, typically level with the hip. From there, it's an easier position to get that leg out and dropping down. And you can see when I lie back down, now I'm in that position of the leg out 45 and arm out. If I didn't have those positions to start, if I was up here and up here, there's so many things I'm going to find challenging. My hand is going to be in the wrong position. My leg is in the wrong position to try and get this underneath. That's how the 45 degree position and this arm up 45 degrees is going to help you. I've got a couple of tips on how to improve your mobility in these areas if you want to isolate those, so keep watching at the end. But right now I'm going to show you how it works with a dumbbell. So you need a bit of power here to push through the glute, elbow, hand. Hips up into full extension, knee underneath the hip, square the feet up, stand up. Knee on the ground, hand out to the side, leg comes out, and lying down. Then I'm ready to go straight into the next group if I want to. So now I have some quick movements and stretches to improve your mobility for that Turkish get-up. First one we'll go into is the hip flexor stretch. Now the hip flexor is crucial for those people who can't get that extension in the Turkish get-up. And those people who are here, and no matter how they try and get that extension, they just can't get it behind the hip, which really inhibits how they can get their leg underneath, what position this arm happens to because they can't get their hips up. Generally, if that's not from the glutes and the hamstrings or the glute and the low back power on that side to get up, sometimes it's hip flexor. So we're going to take into a hip flexor stretch. Should be held for about 2 to 3 minutes. We see a lot of people, the typical hip flexor stretch is just into here. Now that basically targets the iliacus. The iliacus sits on top of the fossa, and the fossa is only going to give you that sort of motion. The hip flexor, because of the angle that it runs, actually attaches between L1 and L4. You want to get in some pelvic tuck into spinal rotation. So how we do this, again, because of the way the hip flexor runs, you want to take your back foot out slightly. Otherwise, again, that's targeting iliacus. Take that out to the side. You put your hands on your hip. We're going to a lumbar lordosis, so external rotation of the pelvis, and I want you to tuck that underneath into a posterior tilt. I always like to do 2 because you usually find on the second one you get a little bit further. Now you're going to pick your chest up. You already start to feel that pull more iliacus right now. Then if you raise your arms straight up, the fascia comes with you. But now we want to rotate, so we're going to turn the shoulders over this leg, and then the side flexion, because that is the way the psoas comes and around and attaches around to L1 to L4 because of the tuck, the side flexion, and the rotation. Hold on to that. You can put a chair here, basically think about all those things, the bum tuck, the chest up, the arm reach over with a turn and a side flexion. So I'll do it one more time for you. So you're in position, back leg goes out, 2 bum tucks. Hold that second one, chest goes up, raise this arm, and already start to feel it over. Then going to rotate your shoulders over that front leg, side flexion. Just going to hold there, hold onto a chair or something. Nice 2 to 3 minute hold there will increase the flexibility of your psoas. The next stretch I want to take you into is the stretch of the piriformis. Tight hips, tight piriformis is going to again limit you in the hip extension, also really limit you in trying to get that leg back and underneath you in the Turkish get-up, which is another thing that I find to be a common problem. I'm going to use a ball here. You don't have to use a ball. You can use a bench or a chair, but I want to use this so you can see some angles in my spine that I'll show you really quickly. So to initiate the movement, you set up onto something that's going to keep you upright. That's why I like the ball, because you can kind of manipulate it where you want. A chair is kind of awkward. You then want to get into a position where it's 90 degrees at this front knee, 90 degrees at the back knee, and you then want to double check that if I'm sitting upright here, that my hips, I have a line where my hip is facing kind of that way. I want to make sure, double check that that knee is inside that line. Then I'm going to keep my chest up and to make sure that my lumbar lordosis is arched, it is not flattened. And you're going to basically lean forward, hand is going to catch you until you feel your first stretch on this side glute area. And that's why I want to show you with the ball, because you can see, I might show you on this side, is my lumbar position. So when I'm into this position here, I'm locked. I am then folding forward and I can already feel my first stretch about there. I'll show you why we do it this way in a second. So basically I've taken myself to the end range, just like the other stretches that I showed you. I'm trying to increase range of motion is basically what you're trying to do. A stretch is a stretch, might just feel good. But some stretches you want to use as corrective stretches where you're trying to increase your range of motion. So as I go here, I'm going to take a deep breath in, keeping that lumbar lordosis and the chest up. I'm going to breathe out and relax and find a new part of the stretch. Again, you want to wait for the nervous system to react to the new position that you're in. Keep that lumbar lordosis and breathing in and breathing out and relax. So again, that position of my low back is important because you can watch as I go. If I round out, I could get quite far and I can almost get like a yoga pose into a pigeon pose there. This correlates highly to, yes, stretching the piriformis, isolating it, because here, going rounded, is going to target a lot more areas in the piriformis. And I also like to use it because it's going to educate people who don't know how to keep the arch in the back in deadlifts, remaining deadlifts, squats, who just don't understand that hip pelvis coordination when trying to keep that lumbar lordosis. That's why I like to do it on the ball for one, where it gets to move with me and I can keep that arch there. So next one I want to show you, I'm going to use the cable system. I've got one after this that you can do on your own. So this one, if you haven't got a cable system, could be used with the assistance of someone else, tying a band around your ankle. So what I'm trying to do is work on my hips. So hip mobility of that internal rotation and stuck kind of in that hip area, which is really restricted for some people in their Turkish get-ups. So I'm going to position this. Again, it's not ideal for this stretch. I'll just grab this strap and I'm going to put it on my foot here. And I'm going to try and get into position. I have to try and angle my body so that I'm balancing here. And you can see how I'm using this weight to then stretch that hip area. It's pulling me this way. So this is one of those ones where if you relax enough, the muscles are going to find a newfound range of motion. What I like to do with this is contract the opposite muscle, sort of like P&F style on this hip stretch. As I bring it in, contracting my adductors, again you do get piriformis to contract to internally rotate that foot. I then relax, and I can then relax, almost I feel I've now relaxed into a new range of motion. So if you had a partner with a band or a rope, something, a towel even, pulling your foot out this side, you want to feel that external rotation. Every sort of 5 to 10 seconds again, contract the opposite muscle, relax. Contract and relax. Now this one coupled with the next one I'm going to show you, I find dramatic increases in my hip mobility straight away, and it improves my squats, my deadlifts and my Turkish get-ups particularly. So the next one is another one you can do yourself, again trying to increase the range of motion through the hips. Get into the same position that you were in the 90-90 hip stretch on the ball, the one I showed you at the start. You need a stick if you can, a broomstick, dowel rod, whatever you can use. The setup position is not too strict because we are stretching the back one, not the front one, so we don't have to worry too much about this 90-90 here. I'm going to stick this stick underneath my ankle here, and again, get that hip into that internal rotation. Now this is a very challenging one. For me, I do have tight hips. This is going to be hard for me to hold. But basically, I'm going to take that stick away and try and hold my shoe there with all my might of my piriformis, trying to hold that and externally rotate. All those hip external rotators, internal rotators, trying to keep that foot there. I then bring the stick up underneath. I then try and relax, driving the stick into my hip or my thigh. I've then taken it to a new range of motion. You can continuously do this. You would like to try, when you take the stick away from this new range of motion, try and keep it there. I can tell you, for me, it's not going to be great staying there. 5 seconds. Can I get this under? Relax and take it to a new range of motion. So you can see how form is critical on the ball, because you can cheat by leaning over, but you can see how it instantly achieves more mobility through here. The next one I'm going to throw in here is how to strengthen the core, and I'm assuming if you're watching this, you kind of already get the gist of what a Turkish get-up is, and you just want to improve your Turkish get-up. But I'm going to throw this in there anyway, so some people, you'll see they actually can't get up out of Turkish get-up position because they're just not strong enough into the core. So call this like a bowl to a dish. I'm going to talk you through it now. So you'll see when you're in this position and you're trying to get into that Turkish get-up position, it's spinal flexion and rotation. So you've got a lot of rectus abdominis come up and oblique. So there's that spinal. You're working on, yes, your rectus abdominis, your obliques, but it's also requires a lot of spinal flexion. So it is spinal flexion and rotation. You'd be surprised that the average person who works in an office is restricted to their thoracic mobility because they're constantly at a desk all the time. So this is a good one. You get to work on the core and the spinal mobility as well. So the movement is what we're trying to think about. I want you to create a nice little hollow dish here. We're then going to initiate the movement through that spinal flexion, rotation, into extension, which is really good posterior chain movement, and coming back. Can I come back with that external rotation, coming back with my core and finish in a disc position? So a lot of people will cheat. They will go momentum, that's cheating. They'll also drive this elbow, I don't know if you can see, this elbow into the ground to get back. If you watch mine again, it's all coming from the core. It's initiating from the rectus abdominis and the rotation, the spinal flexion into the side. So I've got here, I initiate a movement through that spinal flexion, I get into extension, just use my core there. I'm going to come back, use my back extensors, my core, and come back. And as you can see, that was my second rep. If you pointed it out, I cheated by driving my leg into the ground. So I'm going to try that again. As I go, spinal flexion into extension, come back using my core, and finish there. Good little way. It improves a lot of things, a lot of exercises, squats, deadlifts, chin-ups, bench press, a lot of things like that. You want to work on 5 reps in one direction and then roll and tumble the other way so you get the used to spinal flexion on the other side. Great little one for your core. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this gives you an insight into how to improve your Turkish get-up. Give me a like or a comment to let it know this is the type of content that you like, and I'll put more up there for you. Hope you enjoy. I'll see you guys soon.